All right, folks, welcome back to the show. It's June 30th, July Eve here in the great state of Iowa. I'm Nathan Creeps, joined by my co host, Mr. Bryce Fortscheller. Bryce, I had an eventful weekend, man, but I want to catch up with
hmm
you. Did you survive the sun? Were you out and about? Engagement photos? What's happening?
Yeah, we did all the above, and we survived, and it was hot, and we got through it. We got engagement photos through the wind, the rain, the heat, everything. Started off with a Glen Oaks member guest invitational that did get rained out. Unfortunately, we got
Gosh.
like 16 holes in over at Glenny in West Des Moines, and
Oh,
then
so
it
you
got
got to
rained
play
out.
then.
And then we hit the old Polk City. Yeah, we got lots of the round in, so that was fine.
Okay.
And then we hit the Polk City Four Seasons and stopped by the Birkwood tent to have a little bit more Iowa chilled meats, which was awesome. And yeah, finished off the weekend with some engagement photos, which weren't as bad as I was expecting. Actually turned out pretty good.
Speaking of the Iowa Chilled Meats, Jeremy was up this weekend playing in a golf tournament, and he brought that up
Yep.
because he must have been at the Jasper Winery thing.
He stopped by the Jasper Winery
He
Barbecue.
said
Yep.
God, the beef sticks were some of the best beef sticks he said not some. They were the best beef sticks he's ever had his entire life. And all
Yes.
the meat was awesome.
Yeah. So there's some huge news there. I just got a call from Caden Walter, who's running that beef stick operation. He's a producer for Birkwood, and he had some awesome updates. Some that I can't share yet, but we will definitely inform the people on where they can get those. He's working on a 2 ounce stick that he can get in C stores, gas stations, that kind of thing. But a huge one that a good portion of the population of Iowa will be able to get at their convenience very soon this fall. So yeah, they're awesome. They are really, really good. Everybody, every producer from Birkwood is obviously great at what they do. Caden's leg head and shoulders above everybody else, and he will be at the Okoboji Entrepreneur Institute in
Oh,
August.
OEI.
I have a
Really?
feeling he's going to crush.
Oh God. You bring meat to
Yeah.
that thing, it's over.
Yeah. So he's hoping to make some good connections with the Fairway, Hy-Vee, and any C-store representatives up there. But yeah, good shout out from Jeremy. That's awesome. That I'm glad he enjoyed it. His parents, Scott's parents, my parents all had a good time. So yeah, one more experience with the Iowa Chilled Meats, and we're getting into after your weekend update. I do want to hear about the golf tournament. That sounded awesome. We do have some more chilled meats coming up this week. I'm bringing a bunch over to the Thompson household.
Good. Yeah, these meats are starting to cause a lot of waves and ripple effects throughout the state of
Yep.
Iowa, especially in our friend group. And we're expanding, and
hmm
rightfully so. This is a flavor town that everybody needs to catch.
Yes. Yep.
So,
Okay.
but you got,
So
yeah, go ahead. What's up, man?
yep. Our weekend was pretty chill. Honestly, this is great, but we are gearing up for an insane 4th of July, 2 weekends in Wisconsin, RAGBRAI, family birthday week, couple weddings, state fair, Okoboji. It's going to get insane. So this was really the last calm weekend before the storm hits. Speaking of that, you guys got in some golf. You didn't get rained out, it sounds like. How was your weekend?
It was beautiful. First day, I mean, it was a little warm. Yeah, with the four-man best shot for the Firemen's Association over at Dyke this Saturday, and we showed up, and we were very outcasted. These guys,
Oh, okay.
we had no business playing in this tournament. There's this bunch of Bobs and Gregs and firefighter guys who were having a
Mm-hmm.
great time. They're
Mm-hmm.
there to have a great time. We showed up. We're the only people on the range in a full tournament warming up. We're like, oh boy. And nonetheless, we had a good time. It was warm, got really warm. We shot 14 under to claim the championship for the Firemen's Association. They didn't even announce second place or what the second place score was. So we took care of business. Uh, and like I was toast, man. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize how hot I was. And there's just no wind. It was sunny, and my face just got fried. I think I'm fine now. That look
Oh yeah,
good,
you look great.
just a
Yeah, you
golden
look
brown. But my
crispy
face,
brown. Yeah,
I looked like. Have you seen that new picture leaked on the internet of Zach Efron?
yeah.
Yeah, I looked like him after that tournament. Just pure red, bunch of Botox in my face. That's what it looked like. But I somehow recovered. So shout out to my skin for making a great recovery. So finished up that tournament, came back, we just kind of relaxed, watched some John Daly and Bryson DeChambeau try to break
Mm-hmm.
60, and then the boys took on Sturgis Falls.
Yeah.
And Mike, the drummer from the Pork Tornadoes, gave us the scoop that Sturgis was relocating live music to downtown Main Street. And we were wondering how that was going to work. So my first original thought, Bryce, I wonder if you had the same
Mm-hmm.
thought, was that might be kind of narrow for a crowd.
I did.
And
I thought that exact thing.
And well, we went down there, and it's amazing how much wider the area is when there's no vehicles parked on the street.
Right.
Like, this is gonna work, but it's
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, it was so crowded. So you had that mid narrowish crowd that stretched about 2.5 blocks deep, full of people, and I've never seen so many young people in my entire life. I mean, it
Yeah.
was an absolute zoo. It's unfortunately it smelled like someone threw up on the street, and we had enough trying to be near the front of the stage. Like, we can't fight these 6'4", 20-year-olds who are just broing everybody up. And
Yeah.
so we moved to the back with the Roxy's, came out, and at like midnight came outside of Roxy's, and it looked like a Fortnite lobby out there. We were anything you saw was just it was something
Yeah.
else, man.
Yeah. That's great. I love that young people still go to that thing. I was talking with some of the Iowa Chill crew this morning. Grant Hospodowski made his way over there, and it sounded like Pork Tease was Saturday. Friday night was maybe a 60s, 70s Beatles cover band, and
Yeah,
it
I heard
sounded like
that.
not a lot of young kids. Obviously, that's before our time. It's really before even my parents' time. My parents are like mid 50s, and they didn't love the Beatles, so I didn't know a ton of their stuff growing up. But it's sad they're such a legendary band that you'd hope that that just keeps perpetuating through the generations. But you can't go wrong with the Pork Tease. So how did Mike and the crew show up on that Saturday night?
Yeah, they played bangers, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, those bangers got the bros of the 20-year-olds just bopping. I mean, these guys, they
Yeah.
were relentless. We've never had so many people just walk in front of you. They had no care. Gapping up their bro, like, bro, you haven't seen me in 20 years, man. Like, crap,
Yeah.
3 weeks. And so the pork tornadoes got them riled up, and it was time for us to move on to the back. And then it's funny, you could just see the demographic change by each quarter of the block section. You move farther
Yeah.
south, and we
Yeah.
eventually found the 30-year-old section, 30,
Yeah.
35, 40. And that's where we saw some of my neighbors downtown.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a cool setup. Yeah, because God, it would have been an absolute mess over at Gateway Park, and that
Hmm.
muddy mess, just like Mike predicted it would be, because it loves the storm deer and Sturgis. But overall success. We talked to Mayor Danny Loddick.
Yes.
He says he can't take all the claim for moving Sturgis to Main Street, but he said a lot of good thoughts and ideas went into it, and it's worked out really well. The coolest part about it was all the local bars and restaurants on Main Street had their own vendors like set outside.
Yep.
So there
That's
wasn't
great.
just like one big beer tent. You had all these options from Toads, Single Speed,
Hmm.
other breweries down there, and all these bars. So it was easy to get a drink, incredibly easy, and you had a variety of drinks. So
Yeah.
really awesome.
That is awesome. And for anybody listening, watching that hasn't spent a lot of time in Cedar Falls, that Main Street has gotten a revamp that has turned it into arguably and sometimes rated on this show as one of the best downtown and main streets in the whole entire state. And if you're participating in RAGBRAI, you have a awesome opportunity to come by and see what's going on there. I think that there was a really good push for pushing it to Main Street because of the street party that's been so successful the last couple of years, and obviously RAGBRAI coming to town. Which looking forward to this top five segment because we got some towns included in RAGBRAI, and you will see Cedar Falls on my list. But it's sad when you bring up the whole demographic situation and Sturgis Falls in general. That it's like this would have been six, maybe seventh year that I've gone to Sturgis Falls, and it's the first one that I've missed in that amount of time. And it's always like a nice little middle of the summer, almost like a kickoff to the summer kind of vibe. Obviously, being local to Cedar Falls, it was a little bit more important to us just being able to set up and connect with the community, do that kind of thing. But it is funny. We've mentioned it a lot on this show. We're getting older, and we're not. I mean, how many years in a row have we been front row at those concerts?
Too many.
And it just might be that time to move on
Uh-oh.
back. And
Yeah,
it
yeah.
makes sense. The Pork Tees play a mix of everything, and it's going to appeal to that younger audience. And I feel like it's almost a passing of the torch. The elbow that you get as they're trying to get to the front is kind of just time passing you right on by.
Oh, it definitely is. Yeah, we stood no chance, and they're just like zombified. It was
Yeah.
just like I said, us walking out of Roxy's at midnight and seeing just a Fortnite looking lobby, just anything in the book. We were laughing. Hardest I've laughed in a long time.
Oh,
But
that's
it was a
good.
good night. But then I had to wake up the next day and play in another golf tournament, a 2-man. And I teamed up with Scott, the owner. And I don't understand how PGA players play 3, 4 straight days of 18 plus holes, because after 9 holes, I was absolutely cooked. I was in the sun all day yesterday or 2 days ago, and then sun all day again on Sunday. I'd had enough of it. We shot even
Yeah.
on the front nine. We won't tell you what we shot on the back nine.
Okay. Hey, I'm not going to ask any questions.
It was time to be done golfing and move on. But yeah, Bryce, the state of Iowa is gearing up for a big start to July. I know we're going to
Huge.
get into a little bit more with Iowa news, but what's your 4th of July plans?
The last couple of years, we have not had big July plans, 4th of July plans, and we stumbled into the Waukee Town Festival last year. We've been living in Waukee now for 3 years, and for a lot of years when we were in Cedar Falls, we'd go up to the Green River and do 4th of July with Dan Mao and run into the Chris Losses of the world at, some of those top 5 most redneck town folks, and that was always fun. The last couple of years, we haven't had a ton of plans. We get ready for our Wisconsin trip the week after, so it's always just kind of been like a stay in town, don't do a lot of travel. The Waukee Town Centennial Park Town Festival is awesome. We showed up just to kind of check it out, didn't have a lot going on, and it's a BYOB event. They have 5 to 10 food trucks. Set up your lawn chair, bring your cooler, kids playing in the park, fireworks, like right next to where everyone's playing and hanging out. But the best part is they have skydivers that come in with American flags taped to their ankle, and they land like right in the middle of everybody. So there's a little sectioned off point, and all these skydivers land. So I think that's the Friday plan. On Thursday, I think we're just doing a barbecue, and we will be providing all the burgers, the Iowa Chilled Meat burgers, for that event at the Thompson household.
Yeah, cool. No, makes sense for you. If you got your big Wisconsin trip that you guys annually do, that's something I would kind of sit back, take a chill pill. That way you're ready to go for the
then
big
you
family
get up for the big family weekend. What do you guys have planned?
Well, 4th of July is a roller coaster in my life. We've been kicked out of places 3 straight years. So 3 years ago, every year up until 3 years, we always went to my parents and just partied and shot fireworks and caused a bunch of trouble in the neighborhood. We had enough neighbors come to my parents say, maybe no more of that. You guys are a little crazy. So we respected it. We were kind of crazy. So we went into the next place. We were invited to the maid of honor in our wedding, Natalie. Her dad owns a house over at the Clear Lake, and her sister brought 30 of her sorority friends from Clear Lake up to the cabin. So that wasn't really our fault, but we just happened to go the same year as that. And her dad's like, okay, listen, it was awesome. It was me and 35 sorority chicks. I had a great time.
Awesome. That's a perfect situation.
Her dad was like, hey, this is cool, but it was a little too much. So kind of got kicked out of there. And then so we went to the next destination, which was my in-laws up in New Hampton, and I tried blowing my head off with a firework. So I kind of kicked ourselves out of there. So now we're going to give my parents another shot this year, and we're going back. So, and they're a little worried because we're going to be there for 4 days, and we'll see how that goes.
You've done nothing but bring a great party, and people aren't respecting, or I guess it's not respecting it, but they maybe aren't appreciative of the vibe that you're bringing, which I can't quite fathom. I feel like you've done nothing but bring a lot of entertainment to these people.
Yeah, it's a lot of good vibes, but I understand where they're coming from. I've gotten a little reckless out there, but I've learned. I think I'm well shaped and well experienced.
We've done a 4th of July all the way back maybe in 2018 or 19 at the Creeps household, and I thought it was a great time. But the story I tell over and over now, it's only been a year, but I've probably showed 100 people the picture of your black eye from the firework. And then that same day, my brother was tubing up in Lake Minnetonka and tore open his hand from grabbing onto the rope of an inner tube. Woo. So, I mean, the 4th can be fun, and the 4th can take away. And I don't know, I think this is your year to kind of like get back on track and figure out a new tradition.
Yeah, I agree. I just hope the weather kind of sticks out. It says there's some chance of rain almost every single day, which kind of stinks. But we'll see. We'll keep good vibes going into the America's birthday. Bryce, it's July. That means it's hot out. It has been hot out. You're thirsty. You got 3 Iowans coming up to your door to ask to drink a beer. You can only choose one of them. Is it A, George Kittle, B, Cooper DeJean, or C, Brock Purdy?
George Kittle. The last couple of weeks I've had to think. I've had to ponder. This one is pretty easy for me, I think. George is fun on the field. He's the morale guy on the sideline. He's the hustle player. He's the touchdown catcher. He's the blocker. He does it all on the field. He also has a great time off the field. And I've just been seeing a bunch of clips lately of him at Tight End University playing golf.
Unreal.
He just seems like the most fun guy. You have to have a good personality if you're going to go do the WWE. experience, and he's done that before. I think he just would be hands down the most fun guy to hang out with. He might be the number one Iowan I'd want to hang out with, but I guess we're kind of waiting to announce who that might be for both of us.
No, I absolutely agree. It's not even close in this one. George Kittle, one of the best personalities in all football, and Cooper DeJean's probably my favorite athlete to ever go through Iowa. I think Cooper would just kind of stare at me and drink a beer, want to say a word or two, and it'd be kind of weird.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy would be a good one, nice casual one. Nothing crazy would happen. Kittle would be like, let's have this beer, and now let's go to freaking Las Vegas for a little bit or something.
You're right.
You know?
He'd be the guy. It reminds you of like when you and Jeremy get together and it's like, should we just like quickly book a trip to Vegas and not tell anybody? Like George would be that guy. I agree. Coop and Brock would probably be similar vibe. A lot of fun, maybe, or like really like quality beer, but like, I don't know if it's like the best beer you could possibly have. Have you watched speaking of Cooper, have you watched the podcast that they started?
No, I see a bunch of clips though.
I just see clips too. I was wondering if that was getting any traction. I'm sure it's doing just fine.
Well, anytime you pick Cooper's face anywhere, you're going to get traction. But he's like the last guy in the planet Earth that I would assume that would be a host of a podcast.
Agreed.
Just his monotone, very laid back, relaxed voice. But whatever, good for him. Cooper DeJean, and he's going to keep cooping shit. So
yeah, it was a good list.
He's got my support. Before we check back in here, July 1st, Bryce, it is June 30th. Is it June 30th?
Sure is, yeah.
Okay, June 30th. We're going to look at the weather records here in Des Moines, Iowa. Today's a beautiful day. We got a high of 83 degrees. Weather record for all-time highest is 101 degrees Fahrenheit, set back in 1933. That's what I feel like they're always said, is it 1933, right before World War II. Interesting. Yeah. Lowest is 44 degrees. How the hell does it get that? 1943, during the World War II era. It's crazy. But how the hell does it get that cold in July?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen a June day in under 50 in a long time.
Holy shit. Your most precipitation, that's a lie. It's 2.43 inches set in 1959. Your average temperature is 84 degrees, right? We're going to be around today. So, hey, 83 degrees today's a beautiful day. So take advantage of today. I'm glad we're not setting any records today.
It feels like a nice break from the heat. It was almost a week straight of just heavy winds. So the wind is something that's really been on your mind, and then the heat is finally broke, which will be nice. I hope, like you said, it stays off for the 4th, and we get like just that mid 80s. That would be a perfect 4th.
Yeah, that would be, and no rain. Hopefully, we've had plenty enough of that. That's for sure.
Yeah, no records today, but what happened on this day in Iowa?
Yeah, looking back on June 30th, record here or history here in Iowa. On June 30th, 1919, Paul Edward Yost, dubbed as the father of modern-day hot air balloon, was born on a farm 7 miles south of Bristow, Iowa, in Butler County. The great Butler County. They just had their fair this weekend.
Yep.
This doesn't impact my life, but whatever. I'm sure the people of Indianola are pretty pumped up about this guy being born.
Hot air balloons to me are a little bit intimidating. I would definitely ride in one, but I don't know how long I'd want to stay up there. I think give me max 30 minutes in the air, and then I'd like to come back down. I just don't want to take my chances.
No, you don't have an engine. I've seen enough of that shit catching on fire, but people are probably saying, look at all the airplane crashes lately too. Yeah, I get it. But God, if your hot air balloon starts on fire, you're sitting up there knowing this is the end for the next 15, 20 minutes. Instead of an airplane, you probably want to know what the hell happened.
Yeah.
It crashed.
Yeah, the State Balloon Fest is in about a month, and one of your old roommates, I believe, is a big fan. Yeah, big fan of the Balloon Fest, which is really cool. Pella did something like that too. They would have hot air balloons take off right next to Lake Red Rock, and that was a really fun sight. I'd like to get back down to Indianola. Typically, we're in town, but there's a million things to do in July, so it's not something that I've carved out time to do. But shout out to the hot air balloon in this day of history.
Definitely a niche community for sure. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, good for them. Rice, I'm sure you've seen this all over. I've watched like Iowa Everett podcast. That's where I've noticed this. This one's causing a lot of ripple effect here in the state of Iowa. We're going to weigh our 2 cents in on this one because the Wall Street Journal has named Dubuque, Iowa as its top 2025 summer destination.
Yeah, the place to be this summer, Dubuque, Iowa.
Number one in the country, he ranked it.
This came across our plate last week when we were looking through content to post. What's your initial takeaway from that article from the Wall Street Journal?
What the hell?
Yeah, I will say I love Dubuque. I've been
It's
I've spent
fine.
a decent amount of time there. I've got some aunt and uncles on my dad's side that are hanging over there. A couple cousins that I believe are still in the area, and I love it. Sundown's fun. They've done a lot to the main street. The river walk is cool, but the place to be in Iowa this summer that seems like a very outlandish, I guess, maybe just exacerbated claim.
You don't beat Boji.
I don't think that there's a way to beat Boji
It's
in the summer.
impossible to beat Boji. I go to Dubuque enough for work. It's fine. It's a pretty town. It's all right. It's
Yeah,
not number one place in the country to be in 2025 summer. If it is, I'm really sorry to hear that for you. And if you're in Dubuque, you might as well cross the river and go over to
yeah.
Galena.
I agree.
You know, you're that close. What the hell? I don't know. Well, apparently this guy was from Dubuque, so it's just like us ranking our hometowns as like a top 5 hometown, which is the most average town ever. But we're gonna defend it because we
He
grew up
found a
there.
reason to put his hometown in the
Yeah,
Wall Street Journal, and I kind of respect that. As a you and I graduate, I went to school with quite a few people from Dubuque, a lot of Dubuque folks from our class of 2018
a
at
lot of
you and
great
I,
people.
um, and they're biased and they're loyal. And I think Ben Krieg would tell you that one of the best things that Dubuque people do is go right back to their hometown. And I'm not surprised that somebody from Dubuque would find a way to get himself into the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah, interesting. Nope, I'm gonna stick with Boji in this one. Sorry, man, you're wrong. But
Yeah, I agree.
Bryce, our lives are to forever be changed here in the state of Iowa, and I think in a very impactful, good way. Because starting tomorrow, on July 1st, Iowa new hands-free driving law goes in effect, where drivers will
Yep.
have to put down their phones while operating behind a vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
I we'll get into what that means and about some of the stipulations, but as driving a truck, that's the number one thing I notice more than anything. I can see into the cabs of cars driving by, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
guilty of it too. Sometimes I need to be better. There's no doubt about it. But man, the amount I would say every other car, someone's on their
Yeah.
phone, no
Yeah.
matter where I'm at. If I'm in
Oh, it's
town,
bad. If you
interstate,
take a moment to look into somebody's car,
mm-mm.
there's a 50-50 shot right now that there's somebody on their phone. And it's scary. I'll say this, Waukee is not set up in the best way. I'd say the city planners have done their best buying up this random like plots of farmland and building out this city, but the traffic is horrible, and I think a lot of it is because of the phone usage. And I'll put my hand up. I'm terrible at this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a modern enough car to have the hands-free AirPlay going, so I still have regular Bluetooth, and I don't have the skip function on my steering wheel. So
Oh,
a lot of times I'm changing podcasts or songs. So this is
I'm
going to be a
still
tough
gonna
one
do
for
that
me.
part. I I'm still just gonna hit my phone and hit
Yeah.
skip.
I
So
know.
that part's gonna be tough. It's gonna make a good impact. We need to have some phones down because you travel a crazy amount of distance in a short amount of time at the speeds we're going. But a whole what a back from my hometown, a cop that we know, he's talked about this for years.
Hmm.
He's like, yeah, obviously it's a good law, but he's like, how the hell am I can't tell if you guys are on your freaking phone. He's
Yeah.
like, especially at a level of his car, it's a little bit more difficult unless if you're clearly
Hmm.
up here. But some people are so strategic about viewing their phone, how they're gonna place that phone in
Right.
their cab, and they're gonna get more strategic with this new law coming out. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's gonna be weird. We'll see. They're also gonna be really digging for it, try to set a good uh,
I, I figure they
standard.
come in. Yeah, they're going to come
They're
in hard and
gonna
make
come
sure
in
that they
hot.
set the precedent and make sure that it's not a joke and that they're actually going to pull people over. I think there's a couple interesting things here. One, it's like you said, hard to police, but two, it's an excuse. Hopefully it makes people think twice about drinking and driving because there's that extra layer of reasons for them to pull you over, lights, tags, that whole thing.
Hmm.
Now add the phone thing. There's a lot of reasons now they can just kind of have a reason to pull you over. So hopefully it deters a little drinking and driving. But I will say a little anecdote story here. I actually got pulled over when that seatbelt law came into effect. I don't remember how many years ago. I got pulled over for allegedly not wearing my seatbelt. And I'm like, I wonder how that guy found. First of all, I was wearing my seatbelt, and it was like the quickest stop I've ever had. Pulls me over. Were you wearing your seatbelt? Yes, I was, sir. Okay. Well, make sure you keep wearing it. I'm like, okay, let me go. But I'm like, I wonder what triggered that, and like how do you even see in the car?
Right.
Like,
I
I
have
feel like
no.
the
I have no idea. If I'm a cop, I feel like I'm um trying to dissect their driving. Like more worried
mm,
about what they're doing operating the vehicle versus like what's going on in the
yeah,
interior.
uh-huh.
So it's double the eye candy for cops. So I don't know how they're going to manage it. I really don't. I hear there's a my coworker told me this in California that they actually have like cops in semis driving around the interstate looking into
Oh,
cabs, and they'll radio in their buddy to get them pulled over.
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I think it's a good law in general. It's a bad law for me. But hopefully it just makes people like myself a little smarter on the road.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it'll be better for all of us. That's for sure. It needs to be. And phones are so distracting in everyday life. Let's put them down for a little bit as we commute to and from work.
Yeah, no kidding. Little
Not the
break from the
only
phone.
not the only big thing happening tomorrow though in the state of Iowa, Bryce, because we're saying goodbye to the Wells Fargo Arena officially and welcoming Casey Center.
Yep. Welcome, Casey Center. It's been, what, 20 years that Wells Fargo had the contract for the building. It's going to be weird to start saying the Casey Center, but it's official, right? The sign is up and the official Casey Center terminology has been put into place.
Yeah, so you got two CC abbreviations here in the country. You got CC for Clark 22 and CC for Casey Center.
Yeah. What are the chances that you get a slice of Casey's pizza when you make the Wells Fargo Arena for state
Oh,
basketball?
you know what? I never even thought of that. If they don't do that, that's
Missed
treason.
opportunity.
Yeah.
And I hope they keep some of the good things like the Dippin' Dots. We've talked about that before. That was
Have
one of
to
the
keep
great
the
things
Dippin'
that you
Dots.
visit Wells Fargo Arena. You'd always get the Dippin' Dots. So hopefully they keep some of the good and add some of the new fun things from Casey's. That's a big one though. It's gonna be hard to remember to call it that.
Yeah, I'm looking at the picture here, and I know they have the new name set up on the side of the building, as in Casey Center. Would you want them painting it red and stick out
Yeah,
like a sword, or do you want them to keep the same color? It's kind of blandish looking to me.
the whole building or the sign.
The whole building.
The whole building would be pretty cool. I think that would. I think that'd be tough. I don't know how you keep. Yeah, maybe you do it.
I'd be curious to see what they do with the interior. If if they try to make it a little bit more Casey scene. I mean, you own a freaking building, represent your brand in there.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I
We'll see.
wonder if Wells Fargo or Casey Center is due for an upgrade anyway. It feels like that's been this
Yeah.
exact same since I've been
Yeah.
going there at least.
Yeah, I haven't been there in 4 or 5 years. When's the last time you've been there?
We went to Shane Gillis a few weeks ago, and
Oh,
it's exactly how it's always been.
Okay. Yeah. That's
But,
I've always noticed every time you walk in, it's the same, which is fine. I like the arena. I think it's a good arena. It's not super old, so only
Yeah.
20.
that is a big change, though. That's been Wells basically my whole adult life. Dude,
Bryce,
can
what's up?
I give you a crazy story? Speaking of
Yeah.
Des Moines,
Looking at
arenas
this.
changing names. This came across my TikTok timeline yesterday, and I've got some more personal stories as it's related to this story. But the son of CEO of Knapp Properties, huge company in Des Moines, Chris Costa's son, his car was towed and sold. So Crow Tow tows the car on March 30th, and apparently they mail the notice on April 2nd. The family didn't receive the notice until April 14th. And by the time that they knew about this whole thing and they figured out where the car was auctioned off and sold. Had zero idea that after 24 hours, a car can be declared abandoned, and within 10 days, that car can be auctioned and sold off.
That's
Can
crazy.
you imagine this?
What happens if you're on vacation and your car gets towed? You're screwed. What? First off, two things here. One, it sucks to be anything with a notable name.
Yes.
Because now this is a story because your car just got towed. Just something happens to regular people. Now it's all over the news, and us two shitheads are talking about it on a podcast. And one, do you know what kind of car he had?
He had a 2021 Honda Civic, and I don't know.
That's what
how
I
much-
have.
Right. So that thing was sold for about $26,000. I mean, it's still in pretty great condition. We know Hondas; they'll last forever. I think the only reason it's really making headlines is because he's actually gone to the Des Moines Register, to these Iowa Public Radio type outlets, and he's trying to get awareness for how anti-citizen this law really is. It sounds like attorneys across the nation have waited on this issue, and that Iowa has really not a great way to defend yourself when this happens to you. I will say, I didn't read too much more of this story, but I wondered, where did you think your car was? If you didn't know where, my first thought is always it's in the tow lot.
Yeah, that's worrisome. I mean, I wake up the next day, if I don't have my car, that's the first thing I do. I go bring that bad boy home. But there's two jobs I would never be able to go to sleep with myself at night too and accept my life is one, people giving parking tickets, the parking ticket police, and
Yeah.
two, people who tow cars. I just
Yeah.
never could do it. I could never do
Hmm.
it.
You are one of the most hated people in the entire
Uh-huh.
city if you have one of those jobs. And I'll say this, for the most part, I totally understand why you have to have these tow services.
Yeah,
One,
I get
obviously
it.
for emergencies. Two, if you just let people park wherever, it's
Yeah.
going to be chaos and people's parking spots get taken. And that's the last thing I would want if I lived downtown. That being said, there are so many cases, anecdotal stories from myself, people that live in Des Moines. Croto is vicious. And they, like this story, you have no leg to stand on. If there's an unmarked area that you parked in, your car gets towed, there's not a lot of like defense that or like argument you can make for these situations. So I've had to go get cars that were parked in questionable but like seemingly fine spots, and we had nothing. We just had to pay the fine and take it. Luckily, ours wasn't sold, at least, I guess.
Yeah, no, I've had some questionable tolls in my past, especially in Iowa City. Iowa City is terrible for parking,
Hmm.
and so I have a bad history with them. But I get it. I mean, we need it. Things would start becoming chaos if parking was everywhere. There's no doubt about it. Well, that sucks
Yep.
for this guy. Good thing he's rich, probably.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Some of the commenters
I
were
can't believe
saying,
they're
of
just gonna
course,
auction it off. Yeah, we're just gonna
yeah,
auction it off. I need to start fucking. Maybe you know what? Take back what I said. Maybe I need to start a tow business and strategically buy cars that study these people who might not know about the whereabouts of the car and just hide it for a while. I'm gonna spend 10 days. It's on
yeah.
Craigslist.
Here's a quick $21,000 to $25,000.
Uh huh.
It's really a wild story. I do wonder. I need to read more about that story to see why they didn't immediately go to Croto. I mean, the Nat family is well known around Des Moines. They seemingly would know exactly where that car is, but I'm sure more to come on that.
All right, guys. We're gonna get into our a little bit different segment here at the end of the podcast. We're gonna be ranking this year's 2025 RAGBRAI route. So we're doing the main stops. Bryce, I think you said you had a top five, but what I'm trying to go at here is we're gonna rank every single stop,
Okay,
each
sounds
side
good.
from worst to best. So that includes the start, even though it's not necessarily a stop, to the very end town of Gutenberg.
Okay, sounds good. I'm gonna get that pulled up. You sent that to me this morning just for a refresher, which was very nice.
So that means we should have 8 total towns here to rank.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, so when I go about ranking this route is not just the towns they're stopping at, but the towns in between, right? That'll make for the great stretch. How the riders are probably feeling at some particular part of the journey. It's a long ride. You're going across a
Mm.
freaking state. You know, towards the end, you might be a little defeated. So, any juice on how you ranked your list? You just
No, and it sounds like I did it incorrectly. So you guide me along, and I'll give my input as I have it ranked, and
okay. Yeah,
hopefully
I
we
ranked
get
this in
somewhere.
2 minutes too. So I act like I'm
Okay.
freaking dissecting this thing. I really didn't. It's a feel
Okay.
thing, man. Like we always rank everything. 2 minutes on the toilet, and we have a top five segment. Guys, my number 8 is Orange City. We kind of talked about this when the route first came out because Orange City, the purpose of RAGBRAI should be dipping your back tire in the Missouri River and dipping your front to the Mississippi. And Orange City's not even on the freaking river. I hate
Yeah,
that. You got to start at the border of the state. Come on. Orange
I
City,
agree
I know
with you.
you're a good town, but you shouldn't be the starting point for RAGBRAI. That should never
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, and our very own Scotty B is a little disappointed he doesn't get to do this. If he completes his RAGBRAI start to finish, do you think there's an asterisk next to this ride because it didn't start in the Missouri? And there will be people that make that argument, and I understand where you're coming from. I've spent some time in Orange City, mostly when I was a kid. I do like the town, but I agree. I think it has to be lower in the ranking just because it's not an official start point.
Yeah. First off, there's nothing wrong with any of these towns. It's just we're ranking in your order of where how we feel about it for the RAGBRAI journey. But
Yep.
Orange
Yep.
City, I'm kind of on you right now. If I was the mayor of Orange City, I'd be like, this ain't right. We're not
Yeah.
hosting it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, day zero starts with a low ranking.
Oh, my Chick-fil-A's here. My brother just brought some Chick-fil-A, so I'm pumped.
Nice.
Bryce, what's your worst route? Is it Orange City?
I actually had Orange City at 5 as well. Yeah, I only did the 5 towns, but yes, I had them lower. I do like Orange City, like I said, so they made my list. I left out 3 towns total.
Do you want me to go 8, 7, 6 real quick?
Yeah, you just go
Okay.
ahead.
So number 6 is O-line.
Okay.
the next stop after Cedar Falls. It's short. You're towards the end of your trip for RAGBRAI. You're probably starting to feel a little defeated. I know because we're gonna put some work on you and your liver here in Cedar Falls. You're gonna be you're gonna want to be done.
Yep.
And there's nothing really too exciting. Looking forward to Old Line. It'll be a good time. Don't get me wrong, but towards the end. So number 7, Old Line. Number 6, Esterville.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got to go from Milford, Okoboji area to Esterville.
Yeah, just a tough look. It's not really anything against them. It's just you're
No,
getting immediately compared to Okoboji area, and
no.
while you're close, you're not on the lake, and it's going to deter you.
Yeah, Esterville will put together a good party though. People like there
Yeah.
like to have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your number? Your number 5 was Orange City, Bryce.
It
My
was
number
Orange City.
5 is Iowa Falls.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the longest route of the day. Is it from Forest City down to Iowa Falls? Maybe. So you're gonna be pooped.
Yeah.
And you got to go to Iowa Falls. Iowa Falls is right in the category of Esterville, Old Line. Nothing too crazy. You'll have a good time, obviously, but the next day is going to be a lot better. So my number 5, Iowa Falls. Bryce, you're number 4.
Forest City. A lot of good towns to finish, and we'll get there. But Forest City knows how to party. They've hosted Tree Town, which turned into Country Thunder, which turned into Denim Fest, which turned into Country something, something, something. Either which way, those guys know how to throw a party, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Kind of a cool area right off 35.
Home of the Winnebago. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all right. My aunt lives up in Forest City, so I got a lot of good history there. Kind of laying the same thing with the other towns I mentioned previously on this list. My number 4 is Guttenberg. And you know Gutenberg, however the hell you fucking pronounce it, is my favorite town in Iowa, scenery wise.
Yeah.
And you're at the end of the trip. Nobody wants to drink any more beer at their riding across the freaking state and partying for 6 straight days,
Yeah.
7 straight. I don't know how many freaking days it is. You're done. You want to get out of there, which kind of sucks because Gutenberg would be that maybe one of the years they need to flip it, start in the Mississippi just one time. Start in the Mississippi, end in the Missouri. Really throw some things off. That would be a great start there in Gutenberg. But
I wonder why they've never done that.
I don't know. It's like I don't know. I do the same shit every day in the same order. It would throw me off if I just kind of reverse my task list. So I kind of get it, but I think it'd be good. We could maybe try
I
it.
do too. I think that'd be fun. So that was your number 4.
That was my 4, and so I'll fall back with 3. 3 Forest City. It's you're in the middle of RAGBRAI. Your vibes are probably almost at its best. Your coast, you're halfway through almost.
Mm-hmm.
You just got out of Minnesota, I think, because I think you go Esterville to Minnesota down to Forest City, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So
that sounds right.
Yeah, so you'll have a good time there, and you're still not super hungover.
Yeah, I like how you're ranking this list and basing it off the vibes and the feelings of what the writers are probably feeling. That's smart. I went really solely off the town. So my number 3 is Milford. Crazy. I feel like it's a little low, honestly, but I think being by the Bogie area and anytime you get to be around the Bogie area in the summer is going to be amazing. And I've just heard, shout out to Zach Muggenberg, one of our friends and connections up in the Bogie area. He is going to throw an awesome party up there. I just think, like you said, it's going to be early enough in the ride. You're going to have a lot of fun hanging out by the lake.
You're number 2.
This might be low. I think I know what your number 1 is, but my number 2 is Cedar Falls. I think Cedar Falls is going to be one of the best RAGBRAI stops, one of the most underrated RAGBRAI stops in history. It is such a bike-centric town. The river, the main street, we've talked earlier in this show about what they've done to set up for Sturgis Falls, what they have planned for RAGBRAI, what they're doing with the city party. It's one of the best main streets. The river access is awesome, and it's a town that celebrates biking. I think it's going to be one of the best RAGBRAI parties of all time.
I honestly believe so too, Bryce. Number 2 is Cedar Falls, actually. So caught you a little by surprise here.
Yeah.
Just because you're slightly towards the end of this journey. And honestly, if there wasn't one other town in here, Cedar Falls would be number 1 because my number 1 is Milford. Mm-hmm. 30,000 bikers. You're on your second day or first day, actually. You end up in Okoboji.
Uh-huh.
You're primed. Your liver's ready to go. You're not tired or shit yet. You're not heat exhausted. You're going to be having the time of your life. There's a freaking one of the most beautiful lakes in the entire country, and that's your first stop. Get out of here. You're not beating Milford, baby. Yeah. There's no way.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the fun part about that too is I Guderian told me a cool story. When RAGBRAI went through her hometown, they shut down the city pool for all like local townies, and they opened it up to RAGBRAI riders. And when we got to Des Moines from Ames that day that we rode RAGBRAI 2 years ago, the one thing that I wanted to do was swim. So we went to Ben's pool and we got in the water. Okoboji is going to feel like heaven's gates opened when you get done with that first day ride. It's going to feel so good.
That first
Cedar Falls, they're going to, sounds like they're doing a lot to the swimming and all that stuff and opening that up for people to dip the toe in the river. The lake will clear. The lake will be the best.
You're number one.
Guttenberg. I know that you'll be exhausted. I know that you'll be tired, but what better sight to see than the rolling hills and the river and everything as you roll into Guttenberg, one of the most beautiful places in the whole entire state. You get to finish with that wheel in the water on the Mississippi. I think it'll be exhausting. I think you'll be tired, but you'll be proud. You'll be victorious. You made it the entire way, and you get a beautiful town to celebrate in.
Yeah, you also get the feeling of accomplishment, right?
Yep.
You just biked across
I think
state.
that's really what got me, is that you're in a beautiful place, but you really have that feeling like I did it.
So the final destination, the final town, so they have a party that night? Or I feel like they do?
Mm-hmm.
You sure people don't? I feel like a lot of people just, I'm sure they try to have a party that night, but I feel like
I'm sure they do.
By then are checked out. I'm out.
Somebody like myself would get the hell out of there. I'd go back home. I haven't seen my wife and kids in 8 days. It's time.
Yeah, and that sucks because when I look at RAGBRAI, almost the first thing I think of is a money-making machine for all these towns. The in-between towns, the main stops at night. So it kind of sucked to be the end town because people are trying to get the hell out of your town.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, you'll still have a shit ton of people go through your town. But yeah. You're not going to argue if RAGBRAI is going through your town. You want that.
Yeah, it is funny. And I love that we're bringing a lot more RAGBRAI conversation to the pod, and that's obviously brought in more commenters. There's plenty of people that don't love having RAGBRAI come through their town, and the older I get, the more I understand that. Totally more on board with what you're saying, and like the fact that overall it's a good thing. But then I hear anecdotal stories of like, my dog got stolen. So Darian's neighbor's dog got stolen and was brought 2 towns over.
What? They found it?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Holy
like,
shit.
I was just talking to somebody up in Iowa Falls who the last time RAGBRAI was there, somebody broke into their sunroom and slept. And it's like, those things I can totally understand why you wouldn't want your town to be a host town.
No, I get it. So when I was during Sturgis Falls with all those people on Main Street, I'd be like, I would not want to own a business right here. I mean, yes, you do for the money, but like I feel like someone's just gonna shatter a glass. You got 6,000 people lined up, like pressing against your window because it was so tight down there.
Right.
And it's a lot of disaster can happen, unfortunately. But for me, I'm positioned on the south side of town, so I'm away from all the action. So it's good for me. I can go dip my toes in there, but come back to a peaceful area.
Yep. Cedar Falls will be awesome. We'll be hanging out there. Make sure that if you're planning on riding, you swing through Cedar Falls and you swing by the Iowa Chill tent. That will be right off the amphitheater. So like right by Urban Pie. I'm really pumped for it.
That's where we're setting up, huh?
Truly going to be, I think, one of the best RAGBRAI host towns.
Yeah, no, they'll be ready. They absolutely will be ready. And it's set up for good, crazy events like that. So the Main Street, like you said, it's breathtaking. It's prepared for you. And the vibes will be immaculate. And you can't beat that.
Yep. So it sounds like you're eating some Chick-fil-A for lunch. What do you have planned besides the 4th of July this week?
Just short week, man. Excited. Only got 2 days of work. Tuesday, Wednesday, going to go work and get geared up to celebrate America's birthday. So just looking forward to the short week and getting ready.
Cool. One of the upcoming segments that I wanted to talk to you about, I forgot to give you a call last week. Grant Hospodowski has kindly ranked some of the best moments in Iowa Chill submission history. And I think we're going to call it the top 10 moments or top 5 moments in Iowa history. And I'd love to have him join the show and kind of moderate these video moments for us and then have us react to them. Would you be interested in something like that?
Sure. Why not? I mean, that's what we're based off here. When I'm thinking of top 10 or top 5 Iowa Chill history, I'm thinking of some of the things that we've done, not just submissions. So
true.
Yeah, we've got a lot of history. We've seen some shit. We've learned some shit.
Yep.
We've experienced some shit.
Yeah, speaking of, I just ran into somebody who used to work for Dahl Distributing and the Busch Light team here in Des Moines. And he remembered me from all the years back trying to get a sponsorship from Busch Light for the River Farm party. And he's like, I really wanted to give you guys some money and support that event, but I had heard the stories, and it just didn't make sense from a brand perspective. And I'm like, you know what? Looking back now as a 29-year-old, I totally understand what you were saying.
Absolutely. For an event like that, you almost need to throw out sponsorship and just give it to the people.
Yeah.
No money,
Yep.
just give it to the people. That's what Craig Fleck did.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. I mean, if you're down, I'm down. I think that could be a lot of fun. Just reliving the glory days.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, everyone, thanks for joining the show today, and getting some in tune for how we're maybe trying to prepare for another show up here in the future. But a lot of good content today. Hey, let's have an awesome July.
It's Freedom Week. Be free.